Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Sim live stream today. It is the 1st of October 2024. It's 3 minutes past 4 in the afternoon. We're back in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're here in Colombia, live time, live weather in the capital, Bogota. We're going to be flying to, let me pronounce this correctly, Bucaramanga. A flight time around 1 hour in the PMDG DC6. I think it's been 2 years since we last flew this aircraft, PMDG's first adventure into Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it's been frequently updated. And I'm pleased to say, in response to the video title, it still is very, very good. I had great fun in preparation for this sector. It's a really challenging flight as well. I've got to fly conventionally. We've got high terrain all around. We'll be going up to 21,000 feet, but we're already at 8,000 feet here. Really poor performance out of here, so we're going to be using the superchargers in the final part of the climb to get up to 21,000 feet. Followed by a procedural arrival onto the ILS. So I am offline today just because of the challenges. I might venture onto it in another flight on VATSIM, but you can't really fly this like you do a modern aircraft with these piston engines. You just have to be really gentle with them. These radial engines, you just can't make sudden power changes. You have to plan everything long ahead and make very small power changes. So it was good fun to review some of the guidance by PMDG and some of the older streams where I had learned how to fly it. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'll hopefully do it as realistically as possible for you. Anyway, here we are, as I said, live time low. It's absolutely fantastic weather here in Bogota, and in Bucaramanga the forecast is nice as well, because when I was looking at the weather yesterday, it was all low visibility and foggy, so someone's looking out for me today in this live stream. Just the stock scenery here, as we're not going to be spending a huge amount of time here, and we're offline, but we've gone for an all metal style aircraft here. I found this online, so it's looking very cartel-like, let's say. Well, I won't even question what we're carrying today. No, I actually got a full load of passengers. 68, I think, is the maximum you can carry in a D6. As I said, flight time around an hour or so, but it looks really, really cool. Look at the sun reflecting off the engine there. Who here is in chat? I hope you're doing well, Will H. You flew it from somewhere to somewhere a few years back, no GPS, all with Dead Reckoning and a great circle route, long flight. Yeah, the range on this is pretty spectacular, isn't it? We're not using GPS today, just VORs and a bit of times and Dead Reckoning too, so we'll see how we get on. Joseph Benson, 10 AM Central in the US. Looks like I'm not going to get much work done today. I can't get you in trouble at all with this lack of work. You should be doing your work, not watching me. Aaron Hewitt, hope you're doing well. Good afternoon from a freezing office somewhere in the north. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Josiah Plays is here. Lee Russell, Flying Walnut, good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Thomas Hutt, so excited to watch my first stream with everyone. Killing time watching a previous stream, waiting for a 1 AM start in Australia. My goodness, I hope I'm not too late for you there, buddy. Hans, hope you're doing well. What's your favourite add-on in any sim? Ooh, that's a really good question. I really genuinely don't have an add-on, a favourite add-on. I love so many of them. I'd have to spend some time to really pick my absolute favourite there. I've really enjoyed flying this, for example, for the past 24 hours. Tim, nice to see you here, buddy. Hope you're doing well. And what did you have to say, Will H? Long Beach, California to Honolulu, Hawaii. That is a long flight right over the Pacific Ocean. I mean, that's 5 hours conventionally, so that must have taken ages, probably upwards of 10 hours, I should think, in the DC6. Anyway, let's jump on into the cockpit. There we are. So we are completely cold and dark. I'll be heavily reliant on the virtual flight engineer. It's such a useful feature here because the workload in an aircraft like this is so epically high. You've got to manage all of these engines. Like I said earlier, these radial engines require a lot of care and attention. Misuse and abuse will damage them in the game as well, so you've got to be really careful. So we're utilising that at the start. Everything is unfortunately in pounds, so I've had to convert that in Navigraph into kilos, or the other way around. So if I go here to flights, here's the operational flight plan. I have got the profile for the PMDG DC6. Here we are at 21,000 feet today, and 2640. If you times that by 2.2, that's the total amount of fuel we've got on board, 6,000 pounds, rounded up slightly. So I've got the fuel on, 68 passengers, and no baggage or cargo, just the passengers today. I wonder what they're carrying in their socks. Oh dear, oh dear. So yes, there we are. That's the fuel done. I damaged the engines on my test sector, just messing around, so I've repaired them all. Like I said, got to be so so careful. So we've got 4 brand new radial engines on the DC6. The propellers have serviced, topped up the oil, water and alcohol, which we'll be using for the wet takeoff for departure because we need full power. Auxiliary oil, anti-ice fluid, and you can see in my test sectors I've done 3.5 hours in preparation for today. Are there any chances for the Gimli glider? Quite possibly today. The Fang West is nothing quite like the sound of those old radials. They do sound really, really nice in the aircraft. Anyway, let's just show you where we're going. It's a really cool routing today. So if I just go to the world map here, we are in South America. It's a domestic flight from the capital Bogota to Colombia, northeast to Bucaramanga. This is Domino Mocena that suggested one of these airports. He showed me a video of an Airbus landing here going around, and it's really dramatic. It's on a sort of a plateau with very high terrain off to the east. But have a look here at where we are, Bogota. What do you notice directly to the north of our routing? It's high terrain and mountains. And if you look here at the SIDs from Bogota, the ones that take you directly northeast, let me just try and quickly find one. Actually no, that one doesn't. Let me try and find one quickly. They're all going south. But yeah, there you go. Basically, have a look at this. We're taking off from runway 14 right. Straight away to the north, look, I need to be at or above 13,000 feet. We just don't have the performance in the DC6 to do this sit. The climb gradient is pretty high. So what I've actually decided to do is fly this SID, which initially takes me in the complete wrong direction, off runway 14 right, westbound. You then make a 180-degree turn inbound to the VOR again, and then make a turn northeast. So use that ability to climb up higher to get above some of the higher terrain. In fact, I think the climb gradient is not too dissimilar to the others, but I found that doing this ensures that I'm completely free of terrain. So it's a really busy departure for me. 9,100 feet right turn to the VOR, and then we're going to do a left turn 180, and then north to Zipacura, and then Buvis. And then Buvis is pretty much, you know, halfway along our sector. We'll get to 21,000 feet here. We're going to spend about 5 minutes there before we start our descent. I've worked out all the descent planning, and that will be a straight in via this arrival, the Pi VOR, love that, the Pi VOR to the ILS. So that's the plan. It flies really nicely here with conventional navigation as well. Hans, does it have the Garmin? Yes, if you want to have the Garmin, you can go here to the options. There you go, Asobo GNS 430. You can have a GPS if you wish to route, a little bit easier with GPS navigation, but we're using just the Bendix radios today with no GPS, so it's going to be a real challenge. Right, so let's use the virtual flight engineer to get the aircraft configured for engine start. This is the AFE, so press before start.
Cockpit pre-flight.
And it closes all the doors for you. And as you can hear, all the switches are being turned on by the virtual flight engineer, a bit like what you have with the FSS 727. It's great because it allows you to just concentrate on flying the aircraft, but you can still knacker the engines.
Oil coolers and cow flaps. Water in position. Fuel
Hey Anthony, good to see you here, buddy. Sorry that I have to go to work today.
pressurization.
I don't know, so yeah, the DC6 has had an EFP from day one, but there's no Navigraph integration, unfortunately.
Checked. Radios.
So we're gonna get the engines started because it takes a while for them to warm up before you can start taking off. And once the engines are warming up, we'll start configuring for the SID.
Doors and hatches.
There we are. It sounds like the doors are being closed. There we are. We've got a little battery there for the engine start. I think.
Closed.
There we go.
Door warning lights. Out. Gear pins.
It's a real
Removed.
busy cockpit. Obviously, this is
Belts and pedals.
an aircraft which is approaching, what, 70, 80 years old? But it is sort of organised well.
Sit to idle.
Press the magic B button for the QNH already.
Forward and 3. Before start checks complete. Started.
Good, so it also configures the engine start for engine number 3 first, which is the first one you do. So we'll go for the engine start sequence now. I've got the checklist here in the background for me to follow and assist me. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you've got mixture up on engine number 3, which is ready. Up here we've got a source of ignition and the fuel pumps on as well. Engine selections on number 3. And to start it, we need to open the window for this, of course, for the sound. So let's do that now. There we are. I'll take Jim's seat. Look, you can have a good look at those engines, and we'll start engine number 3 first.
3,
You can just about see it
6,
going over there.
9, 12.
Perfect. So boost, then prime. There we are. A few more spitting sounds needed, but it does start first time. There we are. I've got the engine start I think on easy, but the engine management is on the most difficult setting. Right, so 3 start, then we do number 4. So let's go down here, mixture, auto rich, ignition to both, fuel pump on low, engine number 4.
3, 6,
That's how many times the blade's gone
Nine.
round.
12.
Boost prime. There we are. Good start on engine number 4. It's just great fun doing all this sort of stuff. It's a pressurised cabin, so we're going to make sure these windows are shut. Which reminds me, when we set up the engines, I keep forgetting to set the pressurisation and killing everyone. So let's now let's do that shortly. We'll start now engine number 2. Mixture's fully rich. Ignition to both. Fuel booster on low. Engine start selector number 2.
3, 6, 9, 12.
Boost prime. Good start engine number 2. The start was initiated with mags off and mixture off. No, it wasn't Chisco. I've configured all of them. Otherwise it wouldn't have started. Let's now start engine number 1. Mags to both. Low. Just wait until the primary boost switches restart. There we are. Starting engine number 1.
3, 6, 9, 12.
Good. Boost prime. There we are. Good start on engine number 1, and you can check out the engine stress look. And by idle, it's showing like all these horrible catastrophic stress ranges. I hope that's okay. I think that's just whilst it's warming up. What's the current condition of the engines? The engine health's all good. Green ticks. Good. Just close the windows now because it's loud. Alright, so 1000 RPM whilst it's warming up. Oh, I can see what was in the catastrophic range. Why were they so high? There we go. I think there's a bit of noise in my throttles. Hopefully I've not damaged them. That's better. Oh, the mags were added after 9 blades. My apologies, Chisco. I don't know what to say. Right. So we'll now turn that off and we'll do the after start flow.
Start selected bus pumps.
Maybe I'd
Off
say.
and off. Battery switch. Plane battery.
Chisco with his brutal feedback there. In fact, it's a good job I don't fly this aircraft then.
Armed. Ground power.
I look forward to more critical feedback throughout the flight.
Removed. After start checks complete.
Good, so it takes ages for everything to get up to temperature. So whilst that's going on, we'll set up the nav aids for the SID. So it's going to climb straight ahead right to 9,100 feet. And we're going to fly inbound to the Soacha VOR, which is 108.6. So we'll get that active now on box 1 and 2, which is working beautifully well with my radio tuning panel. So nav 1 and nav 2. And the inbound nav 8 doesn't actually give you an inbound radial, but outbound we want 279. So what I'm going to do is just sort of set probably 275, roughly looks like that, on the OBS. I wish I had HSI, make it so much easier, but 275 inbound. But we do have the RMI pointing directly to the VOR. You can get the nav aids. We've got DME here in distance, but yeah, you can get the idents by pushing nav 1, but they're so quiet. I don't know if you can just about hear that, but that did sound like Sierra Oscar Alpha. yeah, that's Sierra Oscar Alpha. So we've identified the nav aid, but unfortunately, when the engines are up and running, you will not hear the nav aids at all. Right, cruising at 21,000 feet then, so let me set this so I don't kill everyone. So flight altitude 21,000, and the cabin altitude, because of that flight altitude, I think has to be at 9,000 feet. So that will automatically start pressurising as required as soon as the cabin altitude gets to 9,000 feet. Basically, it's already at 8,800. And now we oil temperature, catastrophic stress range. I'm just sat here, probably just turn down that because the oil's still very cold. Just make sure they're ticking over at 1,000 RPM at idle. What's that like? There we are. Yeah, you just got to get the oil temperature up before you start adding too much power. See, the oil temperature's not even in the warm band yet. Right. We'll now do the before takeoff flow, and then we'll start taxiing out.
Boost pumps.
V2 Plus, are you using Rex Atmos, Captain? What's that? V2 Plus 10, I think that might answer your question.
Main tanks and crossfeed off. Autopilot and carb heat.
So we're going to hand fly this entire departure. We're going to hand fly it, right turn, outbound, do this left turn, and I'll engage the autopilot when we're inbound to Suatra again.
Pressure and quantity checked. Okay. Flaps 20.
So flaps get moved to 20 for you. There you go. Oh really? Domino Mosina. I did no idea about that. So I tried searching DC6 and it didn't come up with anything.
Gas lock released. 3. Detonator.
So gust lock's free. I'll do a quick flight control check. I've gone full yoke cam for today.
Mixture and cold
It's
flaps.
very slow in response, but I think this is all the way you fly it.
Set. Transponder.
Flight controls are good.
On.
Rudder as well.
Landing lights.
So being extended now. There you go. Turned on.
Before takeoff checks complete.
Perfect. So, I think we now have the oil temperature is in the green zone now. So what we'll do is release the brake and we'll just start taxiing out to runway 14 right. It's already moving under its own power. Just add a little bit of power here. You can sort of, I always have this open here. Yeah, you can see it's not getting too upset now. Oil pressure's rising slightly on engine number 1, but that was the last engine to be started. Great looking bird. Love this all metal livery. Keep the RPM at around 1,000. 737 Sim Pilot, could you... Oops, hold on. I've lost you guys, my live chat window's just closed. Alright, clear left. Uh-oh. I hope you guys are still there. Hold on, my YouTube software has crashed, so I can't see anyone here in chat. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, there we are. 737 Sim Pilot, Captain, you should look into Active Sky. I use it, the turbulence is awesome, a lot better than the default Microsoft Flight Sim turbulence. Well, yeah, I try to avoid running multiple programs in desktop simulators where possible. I already run a number of them, but yeah, default with 2024 out and on the horizon, I'm sort of just happy with default weather, to be honest. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's full of mods today in chat. Ah, Jose, what a surprise, you're flying in my home country. Excellent. I love it all shaking around. So let's go through the takeoff briefing then. So we'll utilise the AFE to set takeoff power. We're going to use wet takeoff power, which I think injects... What does it sort of water mixture into the cylinders and makes them run faster. Don't know anything about these sort of engines. Then set takeoff power, rotate to 100 knots. We'll then pitch around 130 knots until 500 feet. And then at 140 knots, we'll pitch for at 500 feet, let the after takeoff checklist be completed, and then we'll climb out 165 knots when climb power is set. And that's sort of the guidance in the included PMDG manual. And as I said, navigation laterally, going to go straight up to 21,000 feet. We're already at 8,000 feet. So 9,100 feet at Vubco, which is actually based off 16.5 miles from the Verco. I've just been making the right turn at 9,100. Make a right turn to SKBO, max 230, but we'll have no problem with that speed restriction today. Great on the FPS, very performance friendly. It's running so super smooth. Not sure if those trees there in real life. Unfortunately, along this routing as well, there's a lot of issues with photo scenery. A lot of it's default Microsoft Flight Simulator, which looks very cartoonish, but once we get to Bucaramanga, sounds like that bad guy from James Bond. The ortho or the photogenic scenery comes in. Squeaky brakes. There we are. Yeah, those trees aren't meant to be there. Right, so offline today, so we'll gently stroll onto the runway. It's got the oil pressure light illuminated, but that's because the engines are ticking over at below 1,000 RPM. They'll soon increase and we'll have the power. There we go. Everything else is in the green. Carb air temperature, that's fine. And we'll line up runway 14 right. Yeah, the weather's improved massively. When I did this test sector yesterday, it was horrible. Horrible IMC. I've shot the centre line slightly. Just finish lining up slightly, and then we'll get the takeoff power set. The sounds are really nice on this add-on. This is don't forget, this is PMDG's first ever aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Right, we're lined up. Let's get the parking brake set. And let's get the engineer to set takeoff power, so takeoff wets.
Water injection.
Water injection, that's it. Make a note of the airborne time, it's going to be around 15:25 Zulu. Very good Domino sealer. Here we go then. 30 inches initially. Awesome.
30 inches.
Everything's in the green.
Cowl flaps. Cowl flaps. Cowl flaps set. Full power, please.
Here we go.
Full power.
So I'll match up with my power limits. This is not me setting it though, I just want to make sure it's roughly there in case I have any autopilot issues.
Power set.
So full power set, we just need to release the brakes. Oh, everything's moderate stress, but we'll do it. Togas in chat. Let's go to Bucaramanga. There we go. Light forward pressure. God knows how you take off in the DC6. Yeah, speed's alive. I'll release the forward pressure now. We're at 8,000 feet here. It's not a quick accelerating aircraft, even with full power. There's 80 knots. There's 100 knots. We'll commit to take off, rotate. On the back pressure needed. Crikey, what was that? Airborne. Airfield, raise the gear.
Selected up.
Just going to do a really shallow climb here just to get to 130 knots. trim.
Gear up, lights out.
There we are, all trimmed down now. There we go. Does it rely on the Earth's curvature to get airborne? Brilliant. So we need to keep lowering the nose because we need to get to 140 knots by 500 feet above the ground. Just set around 400 feet per minute. Someone's ringing me. Not a good time.
Flaps up.
Flaps up, coming up to 9,100 feet for that right turn. You would not want an engine failure. There we are, the flaps are being retracted. There's 9,100. We're going to start the right turn now, inbound to the VOR. Using the OBS to make sure we're aligned, and the HSI here.
Setting meter power, 48 inches, 2600 RPM.
Get to 165 knots now. There we are, so Mito power being set by Jim. Jim's very productive, isn't he? There's 165 knots, so trimming.
Power set. Climb power. Setting climb power.
Watch that rate of climb. Get trim for 165. There we are. It's all nice and trim. Oops, just reset. There you go. I've got Toby eye tracker on now as well, so you can just see Bogota down there.
Climb power set.
Very nice.
After takeoff, checklist. Wait.
There's 10,000 feet. We've got the OBS coming alive now. Look for the VOR, which I forget it's called, Soacha.
Takeoff checks complete.
Oh, I'm trying to get Toby eye off now. Ah. When it's in trim, it's really nice to fly. You can sort of let go of the controls for a second. But now we're beautifully inbound. There you go. Look, you can see us on. Well, you can't see us on that because I'm on the wrong screen. There you are. Look, you can see us nicely inbound to Coacha now. Just turn the volume down slightly in the sim. There we go. So we'll roll wings level now. Again, continue to pitch at 165 knots. And now we're going to wait until we're out overhead from the VOR. Remember, we're going to fly over the VOR. There you go. And then we need to be at above 12,000 feet, which we're going to struggle to do, but I am climbing at my best rate, I think, 165 knots of climb power set. And then we're going to outbound for 12 miles to Asdem. And again, you can see all that down here. There's the DME, just here. And then there's the OBS here. It does fly so nicely, and once you've got it in trim at 165 knots, you know, it just sort of flies itself. Just trim down a little bit more nose down. The weather's really nice. Imagine doing this in IMC, and if the engine was to fail now. There is Bogota down there, so densely populated. And yes, we are completely flying in the wrong direction. It's worth noting at this present stage, but we need to gain as much height as possible before we head northeast, which is why we're heading west. Right, you see we're getting a bit closer to the VOR now, so the needle's beginning to swing. Don't start chasing at this stage, just sort of keep the wings level. And we'll set the outbound radial 279. Yeah. There's 12,000 feet, just make sure we're pressurising. Yep, cabin altitude is descending. Looking good. Cabin altitude is actually descending further below our target, which is nice. So a little bit. I need to actually head my new track now, 279, which I'll do now. We're a little bit to the south of the beacon. You can see it's sort of swinging round. So make sure I'm tracking 279. Ooh. Try not to descend. There we are. I've noticed with the DC6, when you turn, the nose really wants to drop. Yeah, I'm a little bit too far south of the VR, which is why the needle's sort of swinging quite slowly. But now we need to pull the tail round. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go on a track of 290 to start with. Whoa. Just to pull that tail round to 279. We'll get these these superchargers on soon because we're losing power as we climb. Jim's slowly adding power and they'll soon be at the forward stop. There we go. So let's get the... There you go, OBS is coming back on the line. Ooh, crikey. What's that speed? I want to be doing 165 knots here. Let's pitch up a bit more. OBS is aligned, so now we're going to go back on the required track. I don't know what the wind is. I'm just going 279 initially and then make small changes. So tail of the needle now. There we are. Now I'm back at 165 knots. Good. And now we're waiting until we get to 12 DME, 14,000 feet or above, which we should achieve now. We should be at above 14,000 feet. So we're nicely trimmed at 165 knots. Look down there. This is just some default Microsoft Flight Sim FSX style scenery. I don't know. I guess there's no satellite data for this part of the world. There we are. Hey Spitfire. Evening folks. Everyone know if this beauty will be updated for 2024. Hopefully. So again, we just need to wait for 12 DME. We're at 5.8. Still hand flying. Flaps are all clean, gears up, we're pressurising. Happy days. So I just need to make a little bit of a right turn. You can see the OBS is telling me to fly right. So I've just gone to a track of around 285. Small changes really. Wings level. Hopefully bring the OBS back in. 5 knots too fast. Good, okay, so next bit of navigation then will be the left turn after ASDEM, inbound 074. So what I'm going to do is preset that now, 074. Just use the tail of the needle for now. 074, waiting for 12 miles now, so that's 10.6. And then we're going to make a left turn back to the VOR. I should have yoke cam on because I'm still hand flying, but I'm all in trim. So waiting for 12 DME, 11.5, 11.6. Once it's in trim, you basically don't have to make any input. 11.8, 11.9. There you are, 12 miles. That should correspond with what you can see on the chart there. So we'll start that left turn now. Perfect. So you can see, look how that it's basically levelled off in the turn. So we'll keep turning and the OBS will come alive. Just want to make sure we're maintaining 165 knots. You could jinx it and turn early, I know. Well, imagine we've got clearance, we're going right up to flight level 210, so it reminds me to set standard actually. Zero. Well, I presume that's about standard there. There we go. Ahead of that needle on 074, and then hopefully if the turn works out well we should be roughly on the correct radial, 254 radial, and then we'll engage the autopilot and get the superchargers in. Beautiful day here in Bogota. There's my Tobii eye tracker. Unfortunately, like I said, it's just default. Well, no, that's actually not default Microsoft Flight Sim down there. That's photography, but over there on that ridge it is. Engines are all running well. Jim, my virtual engineer, is doing his thing. Just approaching 16,000 feet. Ooh, just need to shallow up, keep that turn going. Like I said, you've increased the bank angle, and those really drops. And there's the OBS coming in on the 254 radial inbound. See the little line in the middle coming up alive. By the time we finish that turn, hopefully we're bang on it. 074. There's 16,000 feet. We're really losing power now, so we get those supercharged or blowers, I think the American term is. Yep. So if our busy departure, not easy staying ahead of this aircraft at the best of times. No, I'm very grateful for the virtual engineer who's constantly adding power, but I think he's we've got the power leads are at full power now. We're just losing manifold pressure because the air gets less dense as we climb. We should be rolling out now. We're on the bang on the radial at 074. So let's roll out towards the VOR. Hopefully if I go here, you can see, there we are, look, bang on the 074. Maybe undershot slightly, but we'll go wings level there. Cool, so what we'll do is, now we're all nicely level, get the autopilot in, so we do gyro pilot on, autopilot on, and we can go to localizer, and now the aircraft's going to turn to fly inbound on that radial, and then you just simply use this pitch wheel here, glide and climb wheel, to maintain 165 knots. That's all you need to do. But I need to get the superchargers on, so what we're going to do is make sure firstly I'm at full power, because the engines are. Turn off the virtual flight engineer, and we need to reduce the power. I think it's to 28 inches, so I'll slowly start reducing the power now to 28 inches. There we are, 28 inches manifold pressure, because when you put the blowers on you get a massive jump in power. So we'll do one at a time. So we'll go number 1 first. There you go, boof, massive increase. It's at 40 inches. Do you do this 1, 2, 3, 4? Because obviously I'm going to have asymmetric power. There's blower number 4, so that's at 40 inches. See, the BMEP's shot up to 200. Oh, I'll test my luck. Let's put 2 and 3 on at the same time. Whoa, what did I just move? I think it was the max. There we are. Whey, 2, 3. Cool. And now I'm going to manually set power to make sure I'm maintaining 40 inches in the climb. And nothing's blown up. I don't think. I think I'll just take a little bit of power off. Maybe I won't climb at 40 inches. Maybe I'll climb at 39. Yes, that's helped. That's helped. The cylinder head temperature is actually cold, but yes. There we are. So we've got pitch wheel on, pitch 165 knots. Nav is inbound on the localizer, on the radial, and we're going to go fly right over where we started. There is Bogota Airport, and then hopefully the overlay will come up alive on top. Greetings, cat sitter. Hope you're doing well. Welcome aboard. Again, just lower the nose slightly because I want to make sure I'm maintaining 165 knots. And now we're approaching Soacha, so we need to set up the next outbound radial 043. So what we're going to do is just go out of localizer. In fact, make our lives even easier. So go to gyro pilot, so that's wings level. Look, we can set up Zipper Kira. So 14.7 on the VOR. That's active nav 2. And active nav 1. And the radial 043 inbound. So we'll dial in 043 on the OBS. We should be pretty much on it. 04 1 2 3, and then we can now engage gyro pilot again to localizer. And now we're going to make a left turn, fly 043 inbound to Zipakira. There we go. Just passing 18,000 feet. And there's Bogota. So we took off there, flew down there, did a 180 back there, and we've only climbed 10,000 feet in that time. Spitfire, there's something so satisfying about changing supercharged gears. Same effect on the V-Skylab C47-2, like a nitrous button for a plane. Absolutely. But I don't know what's a good climb power setting. I've sort of knocked it back a little bit because the pressures are getting a bit high. So I'm just going to slowly add power to around 38 inches per engine. I mean, the temperature's high, but it's well within range. This is the pressure. Yeah, it's okay. All temperatures in the medium stress range. Yeah, it's alright. It's well off the red bars. All good. Cool, look at that. We're now navigating inbound to Zipaquirá. It's a short flight, guys. When we get to Zipaquirá, we're going to go to Buff, and then we'll probably reach cruise there, and then we're going to start our descent pretty much 5 minutes later. Beautiful route. What do you think of the DC6 then? Ah, yes. It's now saying normal temperature's perfect. I think it's probably because it's still cold. Well, it's probably thick, I don't know. Oh, look, it's like it's fixed itself, and I don't even have the AFE on at the moment. It's just pure skill managing these engines. There we go. We're still further away from when we started. Look, we're just about to beam the airport, and go to IFR low. These are the charts we're using. We'll then start getting on our way, but there we are. We started just on there. Let's stand on that stand. Look at the sun reflecting on that aluminum, I should say, fuselage. Can't teach it, I know, Rosie. Awesome. Hope the volume's okay. You can hear me all right. Nothing's too loud. Just turn the sim down ever so slightly more. How's that? Hopefully it's all good. Hi Thomas, hi Captain, just wondering how long you're usually away from home on a usual work trip. Seems like you pilots have a lot to do. How many of those hours do you get paid for? Great question, Thomas. So a lot of airlines pay in different ways. For example, my operator, most of us on a contract and a salary, so I get an annual salary and then an hourly rate per block time. But some airlines work differently. You pay per block hour only. But I'm very fortunate that at my operator, if you're based at home, which I am, I'm home every night. Occasionally I have to do the odd block out of base here and there, but in the sim that's not very often. But some people are out of base more than others. It depends where you're based. Good question. Volume's okay. Cheers, Chisco. Chisco, how am I doing? I upset you earlier with my failed attempt at the engines. How am I doing? Out of 10. Out of 10. Bye bye, Bogota. Didn't know I'll be flying this ever again anytime soon. But I did a poll recently, and a lot of you actually. This came second, a close second. So I was like, okay, I'll fly again soon. No, Chisco. Cheers, buddy. Cheers. But that might change later. That might change. Cool. So there's the Zipaquirá VOR. Pronunciation's probably completely wrong. We've got DME information here, so 16.8 miles. We're going to be there in 4 minutes. And we are approaching our cleared level. I've actually only just realised that we're just past 20,000 feet. Best set standard now, 1013. So I'll anticipate the level off next. So we're just passing 20,500 feet. So 21,000 feet. So our flight level 210, I should say, is our cruise. Get ready to level off. Small airport there as well. Textures are a bit blurry, aren't they, when you sort of zoom in like this? But I mean, I don't ever fly around looking around like that though. Cool. Sort of let the power just drop off on its own a bit there. Still maintaining 35 inches. I forgot to mention, everyone, I do have a co-pilot, another co-pilot today. There he is. Fast asleep. Waiting to go for a walk because it's been raining all day. It's been horrible here in the UK. Ooh, bit of a fat belly. There we go. Right, 300 feet to go. So again, I'll use the pitch wheel to sort of level off manually, and then we'll use the out hold function. And then we'll set cruise power. Low does the airline decide where you'll be doing your type rating, or depending where you live, they might be flexible? For example, I live near East Midlands Airport. Now, I don't actually know about that. Type rating wise, we have several training centres. I think they do their best to accommodate, but I did my type rating 13 years ago, low fuel lab. Now I do train and teach them, but how the HR side of things now and the logistics, who decides where it goes what, I have no clue on, I'm afraid. There we are. So we're going to use the trim wheel to manually level off at 210, which is what my mouse wheel's doing at the moment. There we are. Just gentle, and we'll start descending. Just oscillating slightly around 100 feet per minute. Set cruise power. Thanks, Jim.
Set cruise power, please. Setting cruise power.
Just let it gently settle at flight level 210. That'll do. It's fine by me. Altitude hold on. So now it's going to maintain flight level 210. We're approaching the zip VOR. So we'll go back off localizer hold to gyro pilot. Set up the next VOR, which is going to be to above 1162. And there we are. Cruise power set, so got the above VOR tuned. There we are. RMI's pointing at it. And we're now going to fly outbound on the 022, or inbound 022 to the next radial. So 022. Satisfying when it. Oh, look at that. 022. Gyro pilot on to localizer. Well, it's not doing a good job holding altitude, is it? Definitely got alt hold on. Localizer and altitude control is on. Just maybe keep an eye on that. It's sort of ballooned 100 feet. Very nice. Thomas, so would I be correct in assuming you fly more in a sim as a trainer compared to real world flights? That's correct, Thomas. My roster is I do 3 blocks in the sim and then 1 block flying. Hello, bit of an oscillation around it. Also tries to find the radial. Yeah, 3. So about 75% sim, 25% fly. I've just finished my flying week last week, so back in the sim next week. But it does. For example, on my sim block, I do have the odd flight, and vice versa. On my flight week, I have the odd sim. You can just look at the terrain around here. It's so high. More is 15,000 feet, 15,300. I'm having a right old fish for this radial. There we are. Oh, the altitude hold is not working well at all. I'm just going to turn altitude control off and just manually get back to 210. Didn't do that on my test sector, just a slight level bust. I think it's probably because I was turning. There we go. You'll see us accelerate here, our speed. Now we've levelled off. 34 inches. I don't have a huge amount of fuel in. I've got no fuel in the alternate tanks, and also just over £1,000 in each of the main tanks. Trimming. I think that test sector MOT. I bet you'll never want to hear a V1 cut ever again after you retire. Oh, set like a backwards AFO 3310. There we are. The one's directly below us. Up the mountains, but you can sort of see it goes back to default Microsoft Flight Sim Series. Is that just where they don't have accurate satellite data? There we are, back down to flight level 210. Again, just use the wheel to level off immediately. Manually. Basically, you don't want to get altitude hold on when it's. You want to sort of do the level manually. There we are. That's leveled off. So autopilot hold on, or altitude control. Oh, it's shooting up again. Why is it doing that when I put altitude control on? Ooh, sort yourself out. Didn't do that on the test sector. There you are. Cool. So, busy flight, guys. We're approaching Bravo Uniform Victor, and then we're going to fly from Bravo Uniform Victor direct to the Pi VOR. So we'll get that active on box 2 already, 16.8. Because this is an approach where, in the DC6, forget about CDAs and efficient descents. You descend and you need long level segments to slow down, because you can't go idle on these engines. You can't just go, oh yeah, reduce power like you do on a turbofan engine, because you'll damage them. So you've got to do long planned descents with long level segments to bring the speed back to configure. So we're going to sort of do a really early descent to ensure that we're level, but we've got to be so careful because of the terrain. Look, you've got to step down to 13,000 feet, maintain that height to 12,000, and then look, you're already below the highest terrain there. And then from Pi, it's going to be quite busy as we get straight onto the ILS. You've got to be at 8,000 feet here. If you're not at 8,000 feet, you're too high, as I found out on my test sectors. Did I set standard? Yes, I should have done. 1013. There we are, 1015, 1010. I'll press the magic B button, see what happens. There you go, standard set. How's everything going, Jim? Just a slight overboost, but it's all good. What's the actual health of the engines? Yeah, green ticks, all good. All good, yeah. Awesome. So ETA's up there, that's not going to be too far off, 16:19 Zulu. So at about 25 minutes, probably going to be about 30-35 minutes till touchdown. Quite a short flight today. There we go. The only one of these I know that's still flying is Everett Air, but isn't there a Red Bull own one of these, don't they? Keep it in Salzburg. No time to Domino Messina today, it's why I'm streaming a bit earlier. Busy evening. Fig Jam I will do, so I've got the Explain software for that. I'll take him up in a proper jet. And went through the Mach Loop, really? That's really cool. Yeah, it's a big team of dedicated people that keeps these things working. Right, have we actually picked up the Papa India Echo VOR yet on box 2? Be a way of checking if we switch this over to HOL. Yeah, we have not. It's because it's not active yet. 16.8. There we are, 99 miles away. So we can again use the gyro pilot just to go wings level off the localizer. Tune up 16.8 on box 1 now. 16.8's active. You see the needle swinging round. There we go. And we're going to fly inbound on the 218 radial. So the reciprocal down here is going to be 038. So 035. There we are. 5, 6, 7, 8. It's about 8 there. Bang on. Look at that. I'm approaching above. Excellent. So again, over to localizer. I'm going to get a right turn now to fly on the 038 inbound to the final VOR. So Papa India Echo, and then from there we're going to intercept the localizer onto the ILS. So we'll get the ILS active on standby 1107. Good. So the beauty of the DC6 is you can you don't care about speed in the descent, you just sort of set a power setting for descent, and you can actually leave it in the cruise mode and descend pitching down. Like VMO is so fast, it's like 290, 300 knots, which is really impressive for that type of aircraft. So what we can do is sort of use time here to work out what height we need to be at, but make it a real level segment, so we just want to be early. So the best thing is to look at the star chart as an overlay. So COPView is not to scale down here. So if I select overlay, you'll see COPView is way before where the chart is, and we need to be at or above 13,000 feet, and COPView is 63 miles from the VOR. So really, it's a matter of just sort of starting descent and maintaining 13,000 feet. As you can see, the minimum flight level for this route is 130 as well after Comfu, and here it's 140. So we can actually start descending now, or probably a little bit later, a few more minutes. And we're just going to make sure we don't go below 140, which is the minimum airway level for this sector. Master Mascala, the best plane ever made for Flight Sim 2020. It really has stood well. And bear in mind the age. And there's a number of aircraft which have been released some time ago and probably don't receive the same amount of attention as this has had, which is good. I mean, we flew it a lot when it came out, 4 or 5 times, and then didn't touch it for, what, 2 years, I think? So yeah, it's still working really, really well, and a very rewarding aircraft to fly in as well. So we need to descend at about 1,000 feet per minute. Let's keep the maths really simple. So we're at 21,000 feet. We want to be at 13,000 feet at some point, or certainly 8,000 feet by Papa India Echo. So we need to lose, what's that, 13,000 feet? So when we're about, yeah, you know, with the level segments, I'm going to start descending now. Again, great thing about this, you don't need to worry about the CDAs. We're going to level off nice and early, so we're going to start descending now, but make sure we level off at 130. By the time we get to 130, I'll be at Comfu anyway. So yeah, top of the sensor chat, everyone. Turn off altitude control, and we just simply start a descent and leave it in cruise power until we're 10,000 feet above aerodrome level. If I want to start descending and slowing down early, I'll just go to the descent power setting. So there we are, dialing in 1,000 feet per minute, and just let the aircraft accelerate. And these engines just don't like to be touched. That's the best way of doing it, instead of chopping the power and changing it all the time. And in fact, I remember reading, I don't know if it was in a PMDG manual, but some airlines actually, because of the sensitivity of the engines, on final approach they actually manipulated the flaps instead of the engine power to keep them constant. And then if they wanted to change speed, they just move the flaps around, which obviously, as a modern airline pilot, seems barbarically silly, but that's what they used to do. So there we go, look, you see the indicated airspeed slowly trickling up. In fact, just to manage my speed, I might actually go to descent power now. So AFE, come on Jim, you can give me descent.
26 inches, please.
So he sits 26 inches, that will just keep the speed from going sort of to 250, 260 knots. So that's a nice smooth power change from Jim. Something like that, list of it.
6 inches, sit. Descent checklist, please.
How's the volume, guys? All good?
Altimeters and flight instruments cross-checked. Seatbelt signs on. On. Engine low is low.
So there we are, superchargers are going off.
Low.
And you'll notice then the power will start increasing.
Descent checks are complete.
So because the superchargers have come off, we need to increase to maintain the, I think it's 24 inches of manifold pressure. It's actually adding power, but the superchargers have gone to low blow. So there we go. Slight increase in RPM as well. I just went to descent early, otherwise if it was a normal flight I would have actually just let the speed build up to 250 knots, but you've got to be below 174 to select flap 20. I've got a yearning to fly this again, maybe on VATSIM, not a busy VATSIM event, because it just can't operate like you would on like a modern aircraft can. I mean, this still flies in and out of Salzburg, I guess, but... There we go. Across the pond. Well, you can get across the Atlantic in this. I might be lagging behind the rest of the crowd, though. It's also worth noting, I've upgraded my Windows. This is running off Windows 11 now. All okay. The only thing is to launch Microsoft Flight Simulator, it doesn't do it from the desktop anymore. You have to do it via the Xbox app, but it seems to be a common issue. Start a day early. So we just need to make sure we keep sending as per the arrival. It's actually taking us a little bit off, but I'll keep the radial in. I think it's just, we've got the exact radial set. But yeah, 13,000 is the minimum until we're 21 miles out, D21 at Oprog. So we'll maintain 13,000 until 21 DME, and we've got the DME here, 66.7 to run. Up to cat, it's in knots, the airspeed. Knots. The texture quality is really good. Daniel, you know, someone showed me that video. I think he owns a DC3 or something. Velis, I hope you're doing well, buddy. The maker of the 747, I hope you're doing well. The 200 next plane. Interesting thing about prop aircraft is that airspeed very much depends on RPM. As soon as you speed up or slow down, angle of attack on the blades changes, so is the result thrust. Yes, that's why I guess they're variable RPM, but my knowledge on all this has wavered over the years. Vince, you have the rad nav flag. Where are you looking? All good here, buddy. Oh no, that's for nav and glide slope. I think for the localizer. Well, having said that, you're right. I've done a whoopsie. There we go. Very well spotted, Vince. I'd detuned the VO and put the ILS active. That's why we're slightly off course. Good job. Someone's paying attention. There we are. That's better. Okay, it does do a sharp turn to get back onto the radial. Vince, very, very well observed. There's all that high terrain that you can see on the chart. Here, look. And you can see it dead ahead, so you don't want to stay on this radial for long. Vince does win the first officer award. There we are. Much better. Oh dear, what's happened? What's happened to all that lovely photo scenery? It is very bland, isn't it, the default textures? But again, it's all on. You can see over there it's okay. It's just this area doesn't have any realistic photo scenery. You can see where it starts and stops. Look here. Very cartoonish. Hopefully it'll load in soon. They are passing flight. Oh, I better set the local QNH actually. What's the weather doing in our destination? Variable at 3 knots. Wind shear with variable at 3 knots. Tower Cumulus. Wonderful. Let's see how that that translates into the sim. Brilliant. What's the QNH? 1017. We're approaching 15,000 for here, so we get level off soon. 1017 set. If I press B, there we are, 1017 as well. Wind shear off runway 35, great. Just tracking on that radial. We have 12 minutes to the VOR, so still ages. We're much lower. We could have descended a lot later, but I just want to get the speed sort of around 180 knots, so I can configure nice and early and get the gear down as soon as possible, because basically with this approach due to the terrain here, just get a bigger chart, this 12,000 feet keeps me a smidge high, as does this 8,000 as well, so basically if I'm at 8,000 feet I'm already, I think, bang on glide, so if you're any higher it gets tricky to manage. Anyway, getting ready for the level off, approaching 14,000 feet. How's my engines, Jim? Just oil pressures, question mark. But the engine condition is still in the green. There wasn't at the start of the stream, which is why I've replaced them. And we started off with 6,000 pounds of fuel as well. Our alternative is to actually get back to Bogota. God, imagine this fully loaded across the Atlantic with all that fuel, cargo and passengers. The performance must have been pants. Don't blame me, blame Jim, he's looking after the engines right now. Right, approaching 130. And you can sort of see here, look, 130 is the minimum sector altitude. That will bleed our speed back to back. With descent power, we're probably around 90-ish knots, 180. Let's see what it gives us. Flight recorder works really well here with the panel safe state. Yeah, wind shear. I would not think I want to get wind shear in this beast. Engine management's good though today, and we haven't touched it once. Oh, look at the sun reflecting. Beautiful. Right, 100 feet to go. Better start levelling off. There we are. Let's not get any lower. Oops. Changed the pitch a bit too much. Don't descend, can't get below 130 yet. No, 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 don't descend. Just, again, I'm manipulating the trim wheel here. Well, it's not the trim wheel, it's the autopilot wheel. Just make lots of little changes. There we are, so altitude control can go back on. Cool. So, maintaining the minimum altitude of 130. Or 13,000 feet until Oprog, and then from Oprog we can step down to 12,000 feet at 11 miles. So waiting now until 21 DME, Oprog 21 DME, and we are 38. There's still 10 minutes to go from the VOR, but we're nice and level. We've got descent speed set, so the indicated airspeed is going to keep trickling back. I don't mind, might add a bit of power just to make sure we don't go below 160 yet. But that just ensures that we can, when required, configure the flaps nice and early, which you need to do to manage this this descent. Felius, they do have reverse pitch, yeah. After you've gone idle, you move this red bar, then you can set decrease, reverse the props. It's really cool. We'll use it today. Terrain off to the left. You can't be off your radial here, can you? Yes, thanks for everyone's votes on the 707. It was a resounding no, don't bother downloading and getting. Is it that bad? I mean, I saw some videos of it, but everyone was excited. I was excited. Oh, I haven't flown a 707 on this channel. It's 7 years old. But it really is pants, isn't it? I mean, the sounds, the textures and everything. I think we'll stick to quality add-ons like set example. There we are. So descent power level 13,000 feet, maintaining about 165 knots, 170. We could go flap 20 now if we had to. I've seen that freeware 707 list of it, but the textures are really basic, I think. Someone said that one's being made for X-Plane anyway. Nimbus, I've heard before as a dev. So again, we're just waiting for 21 miles to start our descent at Oprog. There it is. 30 miles. Keep speed. It's fine. 160 knots. Miles to go, so another 10 miles will start our descent. And I think, guys, I know this might sound silly, but we're only, what's the elevation here? 4,000 feet. So we're only 9,000 feet above the ground. This seems ridiculous, I know, but I am going to take flaps now. The reason is I've got to manage my airspeed. So just before descent here, even though we're still 8 miles from the VOR, 10 miles from touchdown, I'm going to start taking flaps. And again, that is just to manage this descent here, because it becomes very difficult as we start descending to control airspeed. So, 28 miles. I'm going to take flaps not all the way to 20, but just to 10. We're below the safe speed. Oops, what's happened there? Flap levers aren't working. Why are my flaps not extending? I know, because I'm not in the in range.
Cooling turbine. Normal. Fuel booster pumps. On low. Fuel tank selectors. Mains on, crossfeed.
Don't need the VOR pi. Yeah,
1
brilliant.
bell,
There we are on the chart now.
down,
Approaching 21 miles.
no smoking signs. On. In-range checks complete.
So now I should be able to select the flaps to 20. There we are. So in-range checks are complete. I think it reconfigures the hydraulics somehow to allow you to select flaps. So there's flap 10. There's the balloon. Turn off altitude control. And we're going to start descending now. At 22 DME we'll start descending because we cannot get below 13,000 until OPROC. 22 is 1 mile before. So there's flap 10. And speed's nicely reducing. We can go straight to flap 20, and then for flap 30 we need to be below 139, but we'll do that later. Let's go flap 20. Speed capped, yeah, that's good plainly. I want to bring the speed back to around 130, 140 before I start descending, otherwise the speed will just run away, as I was discussing the last few minutes. There we are, 22 miles, so let's start descending now to 12,000 feet. We'll dial in 1,000 feet per minute again. And that's why I brought the flaps out now and reduced the speed, otherwise it would just run away from me at this point. Because the high terrain is keeping us high with all these restrictions. So there you go, you see I've dialed in 1,000 feet, the speed is beginning to creep up again, but we must keep this below 175 now with flaps 20 out. Engines I've not touched. And again, for 11 miles we can't go below 12,000 feet, and then I need 1,000 feet per minute to make this next bit here. I might just take the in-range checks off now. The reason is I want to take a little bit more power. What's the mid? Whoa, I think the power's just... Oh, that's not going to have done them good. What's the lowest BMEP I can set? Is it 90, or can you go slightly less if you need to? Get ready to level off at 12,000. And we must maintain that height. I've just taken in-range off so I can just set a slightly lower power setting just to keep the speed under control. And what's the... I couldn't find it earlier. The gear extension speed. That's always an option, obviously. If you need it, lower the gear. There we are. So leveling off at 12,000. There we are, 12,000 feet. So it's only going to be a short length here at 12,000. There we are, 12,000 feet. When we're 11 DME, so at 12 miles, we can then step down to 8,000 feet, and this is where it gets really busy. There's the flaps out already, and if I was doing 170 knots here clean, I wouldn't get in. Right, we can now start descending to 8,000 feet. I think I might drop the gear here. Yeah, you know what? Let's do the landing checklist.
Flaps 20. Setting flaps 20.
So wait for 11 DME. Oh, we've started descending a little bit early, but we're visual. I'm happy to go down to 8,000 feet. And we can use the DME on the time here, so 5 minutes. So if we set about...
Gear up and down, please.
So here comes the gear.
Gear up and down.
It's just going to help manage the speed, because I need to now keep sending at 1,000 feet per minute, otherwise I won't make it in. Thank God for test sectors. 170-ish, perfect. Let's start in 1,000. Good, and that's helping manage the speed.
2,400 RPM.
So that increase in RPM is going to add drag.
2,400 RPM set. Cow flaps.
And look at the speed, held beautifully here. No, it's not super cap. I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm doing.
Landing lights. Speed good. Extending lights.
That'll add a bit of drag as well. Still quite far out, but it's the only way to manage this energy.
Before landing checks complete.
Good, so 4 minutes to go, and this rate of descent's good. So what we're going to do now is turn off the localizer, because we're nicely wings level inbound to the VOR. So we're going to go to gyro pilot, tune up the ILS on box 1 only, 1107, which is now active. I need to do it in box 1 only because I need to make sure I'm still flying inbound to Pi, which is on the RMI, and we'll set the HSI for the final approach track, which is, or the OBS, 348. So this will give us localized deviation information. So we've done the landing checklist already. I've got manual power, so I'm just going to reduce it to 90 PMEP. Engines, pressure, just a bit I can do about it. Good, so we're now waiting for the localizer to come alive, but this rate of descent's good. I'm still 3 minutes from the Pi VOR. I've got no information from the localizer, so hopefully it will come in soon. If we don't pick up the localizer, I need to make a left turn 215 to hold, probably get a bit lower. And the minimum sector is 8,000 feet here, so I can't go any lower because look at this terrain. And it's in IMC. Lovely and safe. I'm still at flap 20, so I've got the options. I still need to extend the flaps further. The speed's under control at the moment. I've got the gear down to help manage the speed. Oh, actually, this aircraft's still epic. It's still epic. There we are, look, localizer's now alive and on the glide slope, perfect. So we'll keep that on for now. Wait till we get to the Pi VOR and then we can start descending on the localizer. I need to be below 139 knots. Oh, not quite there to select flap 30. See what I mean? If I didn't have the gear down now, it would never make it in. It'd be impossible. I'm just at about 139 knots. I'll just take another notch of flops to help slow down. So there's the balloon from the flaps, look. Ugh. Keep descending. Don't level off. Welcome aboard Airline Focus. Could do a bit of your assistance here. That flap's just helped manage the speed as I keep this descent going. We're waiting for the localizer to come alive now on the HSI. OBS. HSI. Just reducing to 90 BMEP again. Minimal thrust and power movements required, remember. Every time you touch the power, get nice and smooth. Oh, great. IMC, localizer, high terrain. Great. Alright, localizer should be coming alive soon, so we're going to go to localizer here. Tune nav 2, 10.7. There we are. I think we're turning onto the localizer now. The DME was on 1. Ooh, be careful how you turn. Wings level, please. 8,000 feet. We're approaching the VOR, so we can now step down to 7,100. So we'll keep it descending. And now I'm in IMC. This is the localizer. 7,100. I'm going to take another notch of flops so we can go to flap 40, and it's 112 for the next bit. I think I'm a bit fast actually. Yeah, glide slips alive. There we are, we're just below the glide. So I'm just going to shallow off the rate of descent now. Trust your instruments, I'm trying. We'll just do 500 feet per minute. Elevation and the minimums we didn't actually discuss, can't set anywhere, is 4,220 feet. Speed's good. Again, just reducing power now just to maintain 90 BMEP. Speed's fine. Actually, you know what? I might just go down to 80 BMEP just to control the speed. Rate of descent. Just want to shallow off now to accept the glide slope. That's good. Speed's coming back. Final approach speed's going to be 115 knots. So just add a little bit of power just to maintain 110. Localizer's coming in. DME range is here, 12 miles. Nice and slow in a DC6, I know. Coming under the cloud now. Actually, I should probably have the window heat on. Don't know what the temperature is. Thank you. Temperature is 25. Yes, when are he coming off? You'll melt it. Okay, on glide now, so arming the gyro pilot to approach. Okay, we're on localizer glide slope. I think it's following that. Trickling the speed back to 110 knots, 11 miles. And the power management is good. We're on 90 BMEP. Key is not to touch those engines. With how low the flap speeds are on the DC3, pretty much have to descend with the gear out to get more than 500 feet per minute. Wow, it's probably similar in the DC6 Spitfire. Okay, so we'll leave it at flaps 30 for now. Once landing's assured, we'll go flap 50. And we have 5 minutes till touchdown. 10 miles on the range. Okay, just manipulating the power. Nice. You can obviously change it, but make small changes. Don't make sudden changes. Actually, Goran, I wonder how that was managed. I think the way takeoff power is set, you slowly add power as required. Speed's good. 110 knots, that's what I'm aiming to maintain. Just taking a little bit of power off. Start the flight recorder. On localizer, on glide slope. Hopefully, as we get out the mist, there'll be a runway there. Oh, point to note, this is the default airport scenery. I do have to get very high because there's trees in the way on the threshold of our landing runway, runway 35. Just take a little bit more power. Actually, no, don't take power. Why not get the flaps out? Again, you can just adjust the flaps to maintain the speed. As the pros did it. 110 knots. Look at this, 90 BMEP. The numbers work really well. There's the runway. I did a thing. Have some fun. Landing flaps are out now. Flap 50. It's probably. I think they did this quite late, but I've done it now just to blow my workload. Just watch my speed. Slowly add some power. Don't want to get below 100 knots. I want to be over the threshold at 105. There's 110 BMEP. It seems to be holding the speed quite nicely. Don't want to get any lower than 100 knots. Just go up to 125 BMEP. Okay, disconnecting the autopilot. There we are. Bit more power. In fact, I might just go up a flap. Remember, they used to manipulate the flap settings to control the speed without having to make lots of power changes. Minimal power changes. Our speed's slowly trickling up. I am going to have to get above the glide slope last part of the approach. Otherwise, I'm going to hit trees. But we'll follow it for now. Localizers show me to fly right. Okay, make a slight right turn. School's out. Yeah, it's a school bell. Getting high on the glide there, so let's keep descending. See the runway moving up in the windscreen. Just take a little bit of power off. Small changes. So it's coming back in. Localizer showing fly right. Did say variable 2 knots, didn't it, for the wind? Keep descending. Just dial in 1,000 for a second. Speed's trickling up now. Going back to flat 50. Okay. Good. On localizer, maybe slightly to the left of centre line, slightly higher on the glide. That's coming in nicely. There we are. Good. So I've got that picture. Keep the runway in the same point in the windscreen. Just going to take a little bit more power off. Back to 100 BMEP now. Start bringing the speed back to around 100 knots over the threshold. Good. again. Right, so we're going to start deviating above the glide slope now. Sounds a little bit of power, don't have to get below 100 knots. I've got to go above the glide because of the trees, guys. I'm going to land slightly long, so you are going to see 4 whites. We're on 3 whites now. We're going to have to go 4 whites unless we're going to collide with some trees.
50.
Thank you very much to whoever that is.
20.
Very kind, Thomas. As we come into the land. Distractions.
Thank you for making my days a bit more manageable. I love watching your videos.
Thank you. It's very kind of you, sir. I really appreciate it. But now we're going to land a slightly long speed. Start reducing the power slowly to idle. And clear the trees. Start flaring. Hold it off now. Hold it off. There we are, we're down. Gently lower the nose. Someone wanted to see the reverses. So open that, add some power. Reverse beta, I think it's called. There we are. No brakes. Haven't even touched the brakes. Look at that. Back to idle. Cancelling reverse. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bucaramanga. There we are. And thank you very much for Thomas up for your donation. That was very kind. Just squeeze the brakes here. Thank you for making my days a bit more manageable. I love watching your videos. It's very kind. Thank you. Welcome aboard, Thomas Hutt. Thank you very much for your generous donation. And that was an epic flight in the DC6. Still a fantastic add-on. Right, best vacate the runway. And have I destroyed the engines? Oh, look at all those green ticks. Absolute perfection. Engine management. Ah, we'll take it. Right. So we're offline. I'm going to fly again soon before I forget how to fly it. It took me all of yesterday to relearn it. And I'll just taxi in over here. How much fuel did we actually end up using? We started with £6,000 and we have 2,800. So we used £3,000 of fuel. I'm wondering how close it is to the sim brief profile. That's what I'm curious about. But yeah, an epic add-on. Really, really nice. Hopefully they'll give it on discount soon or something. Right, we're not going to use an air bridge, but we'll just park over here in front of the tower and drop off our inconspicuous cargo. We'll just park it there. Oh, look, there's gifted members coming in. My goodness. Oh, who do I have to say thanks to for that? Just set the parking brake, set 1,000 RPM. I'm saying thank you to Aaron Hewitt, who's gifted 5 members of the channel. Thank you very much, buddy, who's a member himself. Welcome aboard Sandro, Mias, Syrah, Boo Boo Fuma, and Rob W. All on behalf of Aaron, who sent out some gifted memberships. Thank you very much, Aaron. It's most kind of you. Right, AFE. After landing, we'll let Jim do his flow. This is the most proficient Jim has ever been. We don't plainly have an Alpaca Airways livery for this aircraft, unfortunately. Or do we? Phoenix add-on looks cool. Love the EFB engine simulations, that panel gauge rattling. It's very, very cool. But it ain't no 747-200. No, it's very good add-on. Let's do the parking checks. It's great having this virtual engineer just to help manage the engines whilst you fly it. Hey Joe, hope you're doing well, buddy. All the mods are in today. Yeah, if you don't have the virtual flight engineer, you work like, well, you might manage it just fine. But for me personally, I always try to do it on my own, but I need the VFE here to do this because the engines are so hard to manage and the workload's so high navigating it otherwise. There we are. Sounds like Jim's finished doing his taxi and flow and shutdown flow.
Parking checks complete, airplane secured.
Oh, well, that was good timing with the music, wasn't it? That was brilliant. Right then, yeah, just the short flight today, guys, because I've got a busy evening ahead, and yeah, we'll fly it again soon. Really enjoyed that. I might take it on to VATSIM, where it's not a super busy event, but somewhere where, you know, ATC can accommodate this sort of aircraft, because I can't fly conventional arrivals easily. The only way from flying the one we've just done now is to is to drop the gear early, drop the flaps. Otherwise, you know, because of the high energy element of that approach, especially this star, this 12,000 feet here is really the root cause. If you're not dropping the gear and the flaps here, it's impossible to regain the profile, because we were 8,000 feet here overhead the pie, and we were only 1 dot on the ILS, and we managed to get straight in off that. So it worked out well. But I only have to say, from practice, yesterday worked that out, because I came in and I was sort of too high here, so I actually went into the hold, did a hold, and then I recovered the approach there. So yeah, it's an interesting one. How many mods just so I've got about 8 or 9. It looks like they're all in today. I moderate the mods, list them in. Very good. Well, that's it. Short sector. Again, this aircraft is a great add-on as well. Bought this back when it came out. Was it 2.5, 3 years ago? I can't remember. But it's still, to answer the question of the video title, standing very, very well in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. So if you want to fly proper prop liner ops as they were in the 50s, and well, when did this come out? 50s, I think. This is a fantastic add-on. I think the best we've got in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Cheers, Chisco. Thank you very much for your feedback as well. How did I do, Chisco? How was the approach of landing? I hope it was well. Deeper Devil, I'm also watching. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for watching in. We're not going to do cross the pond in this aircraft, I'm afraid. But that is soon. I've already registered my wish to take part, so hopefully I will get a slot this time. But I was working last time, so last time I did was last year. All the mods here. Hello, Rowan. Hope you're doing well. Playing a great stream, Captain. Thank you. I'm sure the attempt to fly soon after owning it for mums. Oh God, yes, you need to go get out your virtual cockpit. Right. Anyway, let's restart the aircraft. It does have a ready for taxi. There we are. And that'll be just for the replay. Should get all the engines running, I think, for us. There we are. And cue the funky replay music. Great approach as well. Nice part of the world to go visit. This did work on the test sector. There we are. Perfect. I don't think, though, this likes the replay. Oil pressure. Catastrophic range, but it's okay. I think it was a flare. The flight control is quite slow, which I think is quite realistic. Fly live. Let's have a look at the landing there. So I had to go high, look to the trees. I only just cleared them, but yeah, I ran it a little bit high, but a bit firm actually, but yeah, I will take it. And the brakes always sound in the replay, unfortunately. Very nice. It's a very dramatic approach, isn't it? Look at the train down there. There's the flare. Oh, what's that intake there for? Good on the centre line. We'll take it. Oh, hear those brakes going off though. I love the polished DC6. Amazing livery. Right then. What I'll do is work out how to put you there. Yeah, I think that's the approach we want, isn't it? That's the view. So I'll put you back on the approach, probably about there, so you can enjoy the views. Oh, look at the clouds on the reflection as well. Amazing. What on earth is that noise? I think it's GSX doing its thing. Anyway, as I said, thank you very much to everyone that popped in during today's live stream. Brilliant fun little short sector in the PMDG DC6. Go give it a try. Hopefully they'll update it for the new Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 in the future as well. But thank you to those that donated, to the gifted members, kindly, generously given by Aaron Hewitt. Thank you very much as well. And to all the regular viewers and subscribers, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest content, and I'll see you all again on another live stream very soon. Very good evening to you all.
Goodbye.